Max vacated.
Yeah. One of the wheels that are spinning, or the plates that are spinning. So there's still, we're jumping through hoops in some areas. We still have some opportunities with scholarships for next year, and Max is exploring his options. I believe that in a few more weeks we should have answers to future roster. But I can't tell you anything more right now.
Coach, you said a few weeks back that you didn't expect any further attrition. Is that still true, or is that one of the plates that's still spinning?
Yeah, that's the expectation right now, and obviously you never know.
With
exams just finishing, tomorrow's the last day, so but I mean we don't expect any of those issues. But I think our last player is the last exam, so he might have the last exam tomorrow. Actually,
with Max obviously not in the fold probably for next year, and the roster being what it is, where does front court concern fall on any kind of level of or depth, I mean, in the front court?
Well, I think we have a lot of depth. I think we have to make sure that we have the type of depth that is developing and continue to help us, compete for Big Ten championships. So I've convinced our developmental program with the young men that we're working with is going to, in time, is going to be very fruitful. But that how quickly it can happen is always something we're working at.
And we didn't get to talk to you directly about Karis, but when you have a guy come back for that senior year, I've heard, especially for seniors, I've heard other people kind of compare it to, that kind of requires a different level of dedication to the players that are on the roster that this guy has decided to come back. Is that something you've thought about, talked about? How do you kind of view that?
I think his leadership takes an even bigger role right now, and he's got more respect than ever from his opponents, or from his teammates and his opponents. That he and Spike, there will be no doubt, who the captains are, who the leaders are, and now they have stronger secondary leadership from Derek and Zach because they've been around a little bit and know the Big Ten. So that's the component. Besides the buckets he gets us and the plays he makes, there's a presence that is now all through that locker room. And I think as everyone realized what Spike went through last year, playing injured the whole year, and then he's coming back, there's a lot of respect for those two.
Any update on Spike and that possible second surgery?
There'll be a surgery coming up, and that, as I said, we expect, knowing him, we'll probably have to back him up, but we expect full recovery by the start of practice.
Weird having an old deep
it's old. Back? Yeah, I mean old. We have two seniors and two juniors, so it's still not the old that we used to know. I have this picture in my home of the 5 seniors at West Virginia when Patrick was there, being out on the court together, and that was good, and maybe it will happen again. But it is nice to have. We'll have, I believe, at least 4 upper class, 4 juniors and seniors that have solid time. So you'll probably remind me of that when I say we're still young. You'll say, wait a minute,
not anymore.
How many years in a row can you be young?
Beilein, in the front court, kind of what Brent was talking about. Are you comfortable with? I mean, Ricky seems like he's the only traditional post guy, physical guy that you had him and Max last year. With Mark and I guess DJ being the rest of the guys at the 5.
Yeah, I think that Mark is Mark in the postseason again. I mean, through injury, not through injury, but through sickness, or whatever. I think Mark needed this year to look at who he is and how he plays and what he's got to do going forward. And we talked at length when the season was over about what his goals were and what he had to do better. And I'm really excited for him. I think he realizes the type of work you have to put in at this level. And DJ had a tremendous redshirt year. And I think if he plays in the middle, this will be the only year he'd probably ever play in the middle. But he showed us down the stretch in practices and in workouts he can be invaluable to us in that position as well. Okay. He's a natural forward, but as you know, we can play small at times.
Sorry about that. We don't get to see Duncan obviously in practice. Yeah. Where does he fit in? Is he more in that second forward spot?
He could play a lot. He could play anywhere with the point or the 5 man. Really, he's got the length to play a on the right side. He's got some ball skills to play on the left side, and then he can play in the backcourt because he sees over everybody. He's a really good passer.
And how much is he ready to step in and be a contributor?
It will, that will, you know, as you know, when we start playing in the real games, you'll know. But here's a young man who scored 32 points in a Division III semifinal championship game. That shows the lights were on. You know, we would think Division III. Now, when you're in Division III, you got to work that hard. I think when the lights come on, he'll be fine. At the same time, we have a lot. We'll check on the progress of everybody over this summer and see how they progress before we start slotting people in, because that's the biggest thing. The Karis Leverts and Nick Stauskas, you know, they went into a summer thinking they were competing at the same position, and they came out of that summer. We got to keep them both on the court, so there'll be a lot to do with how hard people work and the progress they make over this summer. Was that a Harbaugh quote or something over there?
I was trying to
Yeah,